Good afternoon, viewers. Welcome to Nigeria Now on Echo Television, where we look at some of the happenings in the country. Quite a number of things have happened, and we would love to put a spotlight on maybe one or two stories this afternoon. And we hope that you can join us by dropping your comment and your views. We will really love your reactions regarding some of these matters we will be discussing. I am Sela Laishadasham. I'll train this program together with Rachel Tanze. Good afternoon,
Afternoon,
Rachel.
Sally.
All right. Now let's get straight into the matter of the day. We are aware what happened on Saturday, precisely in Edo State, where we had one of the off-seasons election. We know that we do have about 8 states or so who have their governorship election precisely off cycle. Then we are seeing that in Edo State on Saturday, I mean, finally, the people of Edo decided. And according to what they decided, according to the result, we're seeing that the APC actually had the votes. So we're seeing that there was quite a wide margin between the APC and the PDP, and then as well as the Labour Party, because they are the three top contenders. Now, following the result, we're seeing that there have been outrage reactions coming from various civil organizations as well as opposition parties, coming from Apata, coming from Atiku, and a number of people saying the fact that the election was marred with a number of irregularities as well as vote buying. Now, Richard, I will recall you and I discussed advice. I remember precisely on Friday,
Yeah.
we were able to tell people not to allow anybody to actually buy their conscience. But then looking at what happened during the Saturday election in Edo State, of course, Edo have decided. But then it tends to be like there were a number of things that actually contributed. Because we are seeing that we talked about vote buying and we saw that vote buying actually took place. We also saw as a fact that a number of people, in fact, let's even start from the number of registered voters and people who went to get their PVC. We just saw about 2.2 million people. That is not even up to the population of the people in Edo State. So as well, we can say that there was voter apathy because not quite a number of
Yes.
people registered, and then you just cannot help but wonder, even out of the 2.2 million people who had their PVC, not all of this number actually came out to to vote. So it's more like people have gotten to that point where they feel like, you know what, let INEC decide whoever will win, because as far as I'm concerned, my vote doesn't count in any way, because if my vote count, there are particular things that I am expecting when I go to the polling unit, that you know what, everything will work out well. Most of the concerns was more like, I think people were highlighting on make sure the beavers are working, make sure the RF, the result is being uploaded electronically, and a number of things, because people are looking at maybe, just maybe, INEC will be able to, defend itself right now, because we saw what happened during the 2023 election. But we saw a different thing, a different ball game altogether. We saw that there was vote buying, and the painful part about it is that the amount that was being given to voters. I mean, Rachel, talking about 5,000, 10,000, fifteen
Yes,
thousand
Sally.
for 4 years of your life and even that of your children. And we're seeing that people will decide to, collect this money. So it's more like people went out there to vote with their tummy and not with their conscience, because people were hungry. We saw even cooked food being given, gala, bread, noodles, and the rest of it. And then you just cannot help but wonder, where were the security agencies when such a thing as this was happening? And we're seeing Yaga Africa complaining as well, saying the fact that, you know what, concerning this election, there was a way that they feel that the result was being tempered. So you
Yeah.
just cannot help but wonder. So what really is happening? We're seeing even the Senate president and other APC saying that, I mean, this is the template they will be using for Ondo and then Anambra election that is coming up soon. So you just cannot help but wonder, what was the template that actually determined APC winning in Edo State?
Sally, with all that you have said, the big question for me here is when will we have a free, fair, transparent, credible, smooth election in Nigeria? When can we wake up and have an election that, regardless of who came out victorious, there won't be bitterness, there won't be statements such as this election failed the test of integrity, or there won't be statements such as it's all about vote buying, the highest bidder When will we wake up and there are no statement of irregularities regardless of what party emerged as the winner? When will we wake up to a fair playing ground in Nigeria where even if your party doesn't emerge, someone will go back home and say, you know what, I'm not going to the court because I trust the system. It is the day, Sele, I believe that no Nigerian is at the polling unit because they are hungry, but because they just want to see the next administration. It is the day that a Nigerian goes to the polling unit knowing fully well that their vote will count. It is the day that we wake up and we know there's no such thing as voter apathy because we have grown and advanced technologically to the extent where I can lie down in my room and vote. Whether I don't have to be under no scorching sun, I don't have to worry that by 3 o'clock INEC will tell me I can no longer vote and all of that. I don't even have to make myself available in any polling unit that I'll be bought by food from any vendor or anything like that. It is the day that we wake up to a Nigeria that's actually moving well and better, that truly every candidate is credible regardless of their political party, and you just know that whoever ends up representing your state, whatever next administration comes in, you are confident that these people are patriotic and have the minds of the people and not of a party, and whatever the party stands for align with what the state wants and then the country wants entirely. I believe until then, Sele, I don't think we can ever stop vote buying because Nigerians are hungry. And guess what? Somebody is happy that I have 5,000 naira. If it will just give me a meal for today, well, then God will settle tomorrow, but I'm settled for today. And we move. So we have poverty. And with poverty, you can't take away vote. And that is why we talk about the many tools that we have our politicians using against its people. And one of it is poverty. It's a tool, seller, because whether you like it or not, someone has been bought with 5,000, has been bought with gala, has been bought with a plate of food. Is because that person even went out to the polling unit with the mindset that, you know what, sometimes we get free food during election. So some people didn't even go to vote. They went for the free food, where you have to join the queue, you have to partake before you have access to that kind of food and all of that. It's really sad. Now, when we talk about the other responsibilities that are beyond vote buying, we look at our system, we look at our structure, we look at INEC. How do we bring them up to capacity that we can see it pre-election, during election, and post-election, that we can truly trust and depend? Then what about the leaders that are flag bearers? Why are we not so confident in them? Or if it is a party problem, how do we fix this party? Because it doesn't matter whether you're APC, PDP, LP, APP, ABGA, SDP, and all of that. What do you stand for? Does it speak Nigeria completely? So in the end of the day, it's just about who wants the people, but not that we are concerned that these people's mandate or what they plan to do is going to be detrimental to the growth of Nigeria. We won't even have to worry about that. So we also have to sit down and say, you know what, it's time we start bringing out quality leaders. Not leaders that are assured of winning because their party is the ruling party, but no, because they are credible. And well, if the ruling party is credible, let them rule Nigeria and we move. This whole one-party system should not even be a concern in the first place if we have leaders that we are confident that they're out there for Nigeria, not carrying out things that we are worried. What is their hidden agenda? These are all the things that bothers us in this country. And until then, I think this will never stop being a problem. Politics consumes money everywhere it takes. We can't come here and say, well, politicians spending money, it's part of democracy. It's a global way of doing politics and all of that. But what makes it dirty, Sele, is the people. It's not politics. It's not democracy. It's nothing. It's just who is running the affair. And until we get there, I think we'll just be where we are regarding what happens at our polling unit and then the outcome of election. We don't need to even ask anybody to go to court, but here we are pointing people to the court. When had the judicial system become where people's mandate are being decided, or who the next best administration will be and all of that? It's really sad. But with all of these things, I just hope that than pointing fingers as a voter, I see where I need to do better. I shouldn't be bought. As INEC, what should I do better? As a political aspirant, as a leader in the future, what do I do that I am credible, that regardless of the party I stand for, people are not worried about the party, but they know that even if you are in the least party, you will deliver if they eventually give you their vote. And all of these things just boils down around many things, but I just hope that we get there eventually.
You know, Rachel, you really hit the nail on the head. The fact that the problem with this whole issue of where people are being bought is the fact that we have a system that is rotten and we need to do something about it. You clearly remember when we were looking at what the town hall meeting that held, I think earlier in the year, where Cheka was talking about electoral reforms, where we need to look at something better. Remember the back and forth that the lawmakers actually had with Buhari before he signed the new electoral law into law. You know, when you look at the electoral act rather into law, and then looking at the fact that whether which is expensive, which is not expensive, and none of that. But what am I trying to say in a nutshell, just like you said, is the fact that we need to go back again to the table and see where have we gotten it wrong. We keep saying that we complain of leaders not performing well, but the leaders are the reflection of the people. Because if you have refused to be bought, if you know who this food vendor is and you report, if the security agency know what they are supposed to do and arrest and make sure that that person is being tried, if we see that all of these things are being put in place, I mean, would have, I mean, past this a long
Yes,
time
Ellen.
ago. Not still talking about things like this. I mean, this is supposed to be found in some countries that are no more
Not
exposed than we are.
Nigeria.
But it's quite unfortunate
Yes.
that the whole giant of Africa, we're still struggling with vote buying, voter apathy, people not coming out. We'll get to a point whereby there will be no longer election again. No wonder we're having people coming out to say that democracy is not working for us. And I say categorically, nothing is wrong with democracy. It is what is wrong is the people who are supposed to be practicing the democracy that are not practicing it the way they should practice it. So
Yeah.
we'll keep our fingers crossed. We saw that PDP said, I mean, they'll be suing INEC as well as the APC concerning temporary with the result. But we'll just hope to see, hoping that the judicial system, since it has gotten to that place, will actually be fair and actually check what went wrong. And then we hope that whoever actually won the election will be given the mandate. Now we've seen that Nigeria is demanding. I mean, we saw our vice president representing us in the United Nations General Assembly 79. I mean, we celebrated DJ Copy being there to do the opening and then all of that. We saw her father being very proud of her and all of that. And then we're seeing that part of the conversation going on there is the fact that Nigeria is demanding to be given, you know, the Security Council permanent seat. Looking at the fact that they say, I mean, we've been to several peacekeeping, I mean, over 40, we've actually have swimming over 200,000 troops. And so you just can't help but wonder, is that a criteria that is needed to be given a security seat? Of course, we cannot say that Nigeria has not contributed when it comes to peacekeeping. We can go back to the 1960s in Togo, in Congo, we talk about Liberia, and many other places. I mean, till date, we still have military men going out for peacekeeping. But let's come back home. What is happening in our country? Because of course we've raised concern the fact that we go for some of these assemblies, some of this summit, and then we see other African countries being part of the, you know, top, maybe say the G7
Yeah.
and all of that, and then we are nowhere close. Yet we attend all of this summit annually. Now, what are we doing to make sure that, you know what, if we are demanding to be given that seat, what have we done that will warrant us being given that seat eventually in the UN? I think this is concern that Nigerians have, and we hope to have the right answer before they leave the UN.
Sarah, this is not the first time Nigeria is asking for a permanent seat or a seat in the Security Council. And to be honest, I don't know if we're joking or we're being serious. But for the fact that we keep asking, I want to believe that our government is serious about being part of the Security Council. However, 200,000 troops and 41 mission is not a criteria to be part of the United Nations Council. a Security Council precisely. One of the number one criteria is you have to be an economic power, a very big economic power. We are not one. The second is our military strength. Okay, we have 200,000 troops out there in 41 mission. Are those UN peacekeeping mission? No. We just have 421 personnel under UN peacekeeping troop. We have other countries, we are not even top 10 when it comes to peacekeeping under the United Nations. This peacekeeping is mostly under Africa, and that's why we are leading ECOWAS. This is mostly in West Africa, and that is why our president is championing all the chairman for ECOWAS, and then it makes sense because in Africa, then we have 41 missions, and then that much troops out there. But when it comes to UN peacekeeping, we are not even up to 500 troops or personnel represented in the US peacekeeping, and then it's not even a criteria in the first place. Now, Stella, UN have 15 members for the Security Council. 5 permanent, 10 are temporary, which is between a period of 2 years and so. And some of the countries that make it to these 10 non-permanent that have a time or a period in which they are members before Moavuda. We have countries like Algeria just joining recently this year 2024 and all of that. Most of these countries, Sele, are very peaceful and are not associated with terrorism by any way. But we are having Boko Haram, we are having ISWAP, we are having an IPOP and all of that. So for some reason, we have made it on the list of terrorist countries. So we are not even peaceful. We have countries like Japan, Slovenia, and Switzerland as part of the temporary members that make the 10. And these are peaceful countries. And I said there is just one criteria that we meet, and that is our population. We are a large country. And among every other criteria to be a member of the Security Council, this is the least. This is actually the least criteria because we have a lot of large countries out of there, and majority of them, and we have China, they are a permanent. We have the United States of America, they are a permanent. But then what about the other things? And another very important part is that you have to be a substantial contributor to UN funding. And we are not selling. We are not even we're not even number 20. We are not. So when you look at the major criteria, we do not meet any of them. We don't even meet for a temporary seat in the council, talk more of a permanent seat. So sometimes when I see us make this request over and over, I wonder if we're serious or we just want to say something at the United. Why are we not asking for other things that could be granted to us? Why are we not taking in more tangible problems? If Boko Haram, if terrorism have been moving for a long period of time and we say we are credible, we have our CDS saying, you know what, we can tackle this, and you're not tackling it, it means that it is above you. Why are you not going out there looking for the help that could actually make you a part of the council? You're not doing anything whatsoever to be part of the council. But however, you keep asking. So I can't just help but wonder, are we serious or are we just trying to make a joke of ourselves because we will not get accepted? So far, so good. Our economy, our contribution to the United Nations, security and all of that, we do not pass at the moment. But eventually in the future, if Nigeria passed this top criteria, I think for no reason the UN General Council cannot stop us from being part of the Security Council.
Just like you said, if we're joking or we're serious, when you saw this demand, it just looks more like we go out there to make a caricature of ourselves, or we just want to have something to say during the assembly. But just like you said, if we are serious, this is not the first time we're placing such a request on the table. Why don't we look inwardly? And that was why I said, let's start from home. What have we done to secure our environment? Let's even start from making sure that the country is peaceful. And then we can pick it up from contributing when it comes to the UN. I mean, I cannot count how many times we've gotten UN support. Only to a good it is receiving. The recent flood we have in Maiduguri, UN has come in through. So what are we saying? It's not just all about going there. And that is why you and I have constantly remind our government that in as much as we query where we see them going up because we're spending money. But then when you go to certain assembly, go there, if you can't even say things, observe, interact with people of other countries, ask question. What can you do to develop and make your country to be a thriving economy? Let's not even talk about our economy presently.
Yeah.
Zero. So, I mean, there's so many things that we
There.
need to do
Yes.
rather than bringing that up. So I'm hoping that, when after this, of course, I know you won't accept us. But then are we here to talk down on our country? No. But
No,
we're
of
just
course not.
here to
Yeah.
open up and say, you know what, we have quite a
We have
long
so
way
much to do,
go.
yeah.
We need to do something here. And then when we're able to meet some of these criteria, contributing, making sure we're peaceful, making sure that, okay, yes, we're contributing in Africa, maybe we can graduate and
You-
all of that. But of
perhaps.
course, Africa is feeling our impact because we try our best.
Yes.
Talking about military strength, I would say that we have the strength, but then maybe we're not getting the support. The military are not getting the support, the encouragement coming from the government.
True.
No wonder they are not anywhere outside of Africa. So we just keep our fingers crossed. We're seeing that Zamfara, I mean, after 7 months, some of the students are back and
Are
all
back,
of that.
yeah.
So just imagine how long it actually took our military to bring back these people. We're still seeing the issue of the better boys. I mean, after how many years, 2 years or plus, and
Yeah,
still,
yes.
so we still have a long, long way to go when it comes to meeting up to that Security Council. But we hope we'll be able to get there
We hope so,
someday
yeah.
soon. Well, thank you so much, Rachel, for doing
You're
this
welcome,
program with
Sally.
me. As well, thank you to our viewers and every other person that made the program a success. We look forward again to doing this together tomorrow. So please do have a lovely day ahead.